Coming out on this blustery and wet evening. I want to welcome you to Rab Hall and this night's performance of the Reclaiming Folk, celebrating people of color in folk music. This is just part of the library's larger focus this year on revolutionary music. So music that is both revolutionary and taking into consideration the work that people have done to create revolution through social change and the like. That includes this summer's Concerts in the Courtyard series, which starts in June and will be going in the lovely courtyard here at the library on Wednesday evenings and Friday noon times. Please take a look at the listings on the library's website, because those listings will be going live before too long, as well as the other programming in this year's theme. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Samantha Rose Hale and bring her to the stage to talk about tonight's program. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? It's good to hear. Again, I want to just say thank you and just extending a warm welcome to you tonight. My name's Samantha Rose. I'm from the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture for the City of Boston. And, oh, yay. And yeah, I just want to send a warm welcome to this Boston's performance of the Reclaiming Folk series. And just to give a little bit of background about our office and a little bit of background about this performance and show tonight. So just at the heart of our office lies the belief in the transformative power of the arts. And throughout history and today, the arts have been a catalyst for social change. The arts give valuable insight and understanding to the world around us. And with this conviction in mind, we are thrilled to support the Reclaiming Folk series. It's a series that illuminates and celebrates narratives that have been overlooked and erased by dominant culture and challenges us to spark meaningful action toward a more inclusive and just society. In Naomi's words, the Reclaiming Folk series is a celebration of people of color in folk music. Folk is traditional music, folk music is storytelling, folk music is music of the people, and folk music is a voice for what's happening in the world today. In our society, there are often no space for marginalized people to tell their stories. Reclaiming Folk seeks to make space for musicians of color to tell their stories and tell their stories of our past, so that our future can be a more inclusive place for all. The series seeks to reclaim, because history has forgotten that people of color have always been at the root of American folk music. From field calls to blues to gospel to the banjo coming from Africa, the origin of folk music is connected to people of color. Reclaiming Folk is created and curated by queer, Black singer-songwriter Naomi Westwater, and this event is made possible by Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture and Boston Public Library, and I just want to extend a thank you to Boston Public Library for collaboration on this. And right now, we're excited to welcome Kim Moberg, Grace Giverts, and Naomi Westwater for this evening of Reclaiming Folk. Following their performance of songs in the format of a round, there will be a conversation about folk music and a Q&A moderated by Boston Poets Laureate Portia Olayiwola. And now, please give a warm welcome to Naomi and friends.
Hi, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to Reclaiming Folk. Thank you all so much for being here on this rainy night. This is, I think, our 6th or 7th stop on our Reclaiming Folk tour, and so we're really excited to be here with you all. And the format is we will sing songs in the round, which is kind of a traditional singer-songwriter folk format. And I've asked everyone also to pick a person of color who's a folk musician that they would like to cover. So we will be playing original music and cover songs as well. And so I'm going to start us off with an Odetta song. Yeah. In curating this series, one of the things that's been really a joy for me is I've been able to kind of spend some time and go back in the archives and look at folk music from people of color throughout the years. And Odetta is considered kind of the soul of the folk scene and really sparked the folk revolution in the 60s and 70s. Martin Luther King Jr. called her the queen of American folk music. So I'm excited to sing her song, Hit or Miss. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, can't you see? I gotta be me. Ain't nobody quite like this. I gotta be me. Baby, hit or miss. Sitting here all by myself. I'm trying to be like everyone else. Oh, can't you see? I gotta be me. 'Cause ain't nobody quite like this. I gotta be me. Baby, hit or miss. Look at you sitting there all by yourself. Everyone telling you be like everyone else. Can't you see? You gotta be thee. 'Cause ain't nobody quite like this. You gotta be you. Baby, hit or miss. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, can't you see? I gotta be me. Ain't nobody quite like this. I gotta be me. Baby, hit or miss. Sitting here all by myself. I'm done with being like anyone else. Oh, can't you see? I gotta be me. Ain't nobody quite like this. I gotta be me. Baby, hit or miss. Ain't nobody quite like this. I gotta be me. Baby, hit or miss. Ain't nobody quite like this. I gotta be me. Baby, hit or miss. Thank you.
I'm going to be a prima donna and stand when I play simply because my guitar doesn't sit on my lap quite right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yes, to prima donnas, right? Thank you so much. My name is Kim Moberg, and I want to thank Naomi very much for putting together this series. Can you guys give her... It takes a lot of work and a lot of time to put something like this together, and she's really rounded up an amazing group of musicians for the future. So be sure and take a look at her website and her social media to see who's coming up next. Actually, we'll be playing in Chatham next time. Oh, yeah. All right. I've been a singer-songwriter for a while, and I'm also Native American. I'm from the Tlingit tribe of southeastern Alaska. And it wasn't until I was older that I started looking into my heritage, because I didn't know very much at all about my heritage, and I didn't realize till I was older that that was because it was by design. And so in researching my own roots, I wanted to also learn about Indigenous people where I live now. I live on Cape Cod now. And I came across an Anishinaabe legend called the Seven Fires Prophecy. It's a very, very ancient but very relevant legend that tells the story of how the Anishinaabe people were visited many, many hundreds of years ago while they were living a quiet and peaceful life on what a lot of Indigenous people refer to this country as Turtle Island. But they were visited by 7 prophets who gave them 7 predictions about what was going to happen for the future of humanity. And each of these predictions covered a specific period of time, and each of these periods of time was referred to as a fire. And so I found it so compelling, I wanted to share it with my non-Indigenous friends, and I wrote one song about it. And I was doing an In the Round show similar to this with a friend of mine named Susan Catania, who teaches songwriting at Berkeley. And she said, you know, Kim, you should really think about writing a song for each of those 7 suites. So a year and a half later, I ended up writing the suite, and you can find it out on the table. It's called the Seven Fires Prophecy Suite for Humanity. And I'm going to play for you the second of the 7 fires. And this is the point where the people were warned that that light-skinned people were going to come to the land, and there's going to be 2 sets. One set you could trust, and one you could not, and it was going to be very difficult to tell which was which. Two prophets told, speaking both as one, look for the light-skinned people for to come. Friend or foe, don't trust, don't be fooled. Seek the face of brotherhood, beware the face of doom. The first set I see, 2 nations linked as one, joined by 2 more, so mighty they become. United together with knowledge they shall rule. Seek the face of brotherhood, beware the face of doom. The second one did warn, both will look the same. One brings destruction, the other growth and change. The hand or the weapon, heed which you choose. Seek the face of brotherhood, beware the face of doom. I see waters diseased, and fish unfit to eat. Perilous greed and suffering, suffering, suffering and grief. Two prophets told, speaking both as one, look for the light-skinned people for to come. Be they not the same, yield until they prove. Seek the face of brotherhood, beware the face of doom. Seek the face of brotherhood, beware the face of doom.
Hello. My My name is Grace Giverts. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you both for having me. It's so nice to be able to play with friends. Maybe if my banjo. So I was eating my lunch today, just, staring out the window. Existential dread as you do on a day this rainy. And I got an email, and Naomi was like, hey, can someone cover tonight? And then it was like, yeah, I can do that. And then there was less existential dread. And now I'm here. So I'm happy to be here with you all. I was actually lucky enough to play one of these last week, and it's such an incredible series that Naomi has curated. And I'm just so inspired. Ooh, my banjo's not, but I am so inspired by the work that they're doing. I used to be really good at tuning and talking, but then for whatever reason after 2020, I just lost it. Anyway, so this song I'm gonna play for you, I haven't put out, sorry. I'm currently working on a record that will come out one day eventually. I don't know when, but you'll hear it whenever. And this song I wrote is on there, and I was really lucky to collaborate on the vocals with another banjo and fiddle player, Jake Blunt. And so, yeah, we love Jake. So it's a duet, and I can't unhear it without his voice on it, but I'm going to play it anyway. But I think this is a perfect example of being able to pull from resources of Black and brown musicians because we're here. And it's so easy to just fall into oh, I know this guy, and yeah, but he's white, it's fine, he's right there. But putting that work and that effort into building a collective and knowing people and your people in your community is so important. So the song is called America. It will be called America when my banjo decides that it wants to be in America. Who is she? I'll tell you a joke while I figure this out. Just kidding. I realize I'm in a library and I can't tell my dirty jokes. So we're gonna play the banjo in whatever form it's in, and I'm gonna pretend like I'm not sick in the mind. I'm sorry, it hurts. It hurts. So the weather. My banjo hates it. Good enough. Sometimes you just have to throw in the towel and say, that will work. And the great thing is, you can't find this song anywhere right now, so you won't know what it actually is supposed to sound like. Take me to the water. I want to be free. Take me to the border. Wash my country clean. I want to stand with them in their fields of green. I will tend their pastures if they will tend to me. America, to America the free. But we'll never be equals. No, we'll never be free. 'Cause your hatred sticks to you like my black skin sticks to me. Thank you so much.
I've been working on a record for 3 years now. It's called Cycle and Change. And some of the music from the record is finally going to start coming out next month, which is very exciting. It's also, though, been a strange transition to move from creating something and then kind of starting to release something, which is a completely different experience. But I'll play this song that will be coming up off the record, and it's called Eat My Cake, and it's a queer little song. And I have, so I don't know how many of you all are creative, but I will have like these like little visions of like what I want like a music video to look like. But what I imagine it looks like is just like me and all my little genderqueer friends frolicking on a beach in P-Town. So I think hopefully I can capture that at some point this summer. Next to her, and I don't want to explain myself to anybody's mother. This is how I'm going to spend my summer. To anybody's father. I can take care of them both. I am a fighter. Oh, and everything's changed. Oh, and everything's changed. Oh,
the same. Thank you.
The cover that I picked, and I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I think I memorized it, but just in case, is by one of my more contemporary musical idols named Rhiannon Giddens. Oh, so you guys have heard of her. I don't know if you've heard this song, though. If you don't know Rhiannon, please look her up. She's started out, I think, she's an opera singer. She's written ballets. She's Grammy nominated. She was with the Carolina Chocolate Drops for a while, Our Native Daughters for a while, and now she performs with her husband. But she's also a self-proclaimed historian of black music and has really shined a light on the history of the banjo and how it has become whitewashed, and she's knocking those walls right down. This song I came across a number of years ago of hers, and it haunted me when I heard it. As a mom, I have two kids, one that's 25 and one that's 19. And as a mom, this song just completely ripped my heart right out. And it made me think of so many things. She wrote this song inspired by some research she was doing, and she came across this article, a picture in a book. And the picture was of a newspaper article from a long time ago of a young woman who was for sale. And the article, the ad, talked about, she's 25 years old, she's strong, and then in tiny little print below, like a PS, it said, she also has a young daughter who can be bought at the purchaser's option. And that's the name of the song. It's called At the Purchaser's Option. Let's try it again, all right? Okay, here we go. I don't know what happened. I did this so well at home. I've got a babe, shall I keep him? 'Twill come a day when I'll be weeping, but how could I love him any less? This little babe upon my chest. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. I've got a body dark and strong. I was young, but not for long. You took me to bed, a little girl, and left me in a woman's world. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. Day by day I work the line, every minute overtime. Fingers nimble, fingers quick, just to make you rich. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. Take my body, take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. Take my body, take my bones, take my blood, but not my soul. I've got a baby, shall I keep him?
I love that song, so thank you so much for playing it. Every black banjo player I know lovingly calls Rhiannon our black banjo auntie, and I love her very much. So I'm gonna do my cover now, if that's all right, and if it's not, I think something that's really cool about music in general, and especially folk music. I have a hard time being like, yeah, I'm a folk musician, I think, because I just think, okay, I play a banjo, so people are automatically gonna think that, so let me just conform to it, right? And I mean, I identify as a folk musician and I love folk music, but I think the magical thing about folk music is that it's storytelling, and you can pull that from really any song, which is magical. And I really love this artist. I got into her a lot in 2020 when her first record came out. Her name's Arlo Parks, and she's awesome. That's the reaction I had when I listened to Collapsed in Sunbeams, and I was like, in my kitchen. Don't know what I was doing, but I remember vividly I was in my kitchen. Doing whatever I guess people do in their kitchen. Maybe I was cooking, maybe I was eating, I don't know. But this song especially touched me as someone who lives with mental illness, and I have so many people in my life who've stood by me and taken such good care of me, and I think this song was so special because it comes from the place of a person who is a loved one of someone who is dealing with mental health struggles. So it's called Black Dog. And I play it on the banjo, so it's naturally about half the time faster. So if you're trying to sing along, I'm sorry. Just speed up. I'd lick the grief right off your lips. You do your eyes like Robert Smith. Sometimes it seems like you won't survive this. And honestly, it's terrifying. Let's go to the corner store and buy some fruit. I would do anything to get you out your room. Just take your medicine and eat some food, and I would do anything to get you out your room. And it's so cruel what your mind can do for no reason. off the fire escape. To make the black dog run away. At least I know that you are trying. And honestly, that's what makes this terrifying. Let's go to the corner store and buy some fruit. I would do anything to get you out your room. Just take your medicine and eat some food. I would do anything to get you out your room. And it's so cruel what your mind can do for no reason. It's so cruel what your mind can do for no reason. Thank you.
I'm going to play a song that is not finished yet. I started writing it a couple summers ago. I was on a songwriting retreat where I met Kim. Yes, and I was in the middle of a goldenrod field and just kind of improvised this song. And then I promptly completely forgot about it, which just sometimes happens with music and all creations. Sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't. And then my song, Cycle and Change, which is the title track off of the upcoming record, I was playing around with that and realized that the outro of that song kind of makes a beautiful intro for this one. And so my dream is that, this record is coming out soon, and then on the next record, there'll be like a little piece of this new record that'll kind of travel to the next record. This song's called Without Fear, and feel free to hop on the ha-has if you want to. And it's just all of the things that I would like to do without fear.
Oh my God. Okay, I did it, guys.
Ha, 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 wee, 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 ha, ha, wee, ha, ha. I wanna fall in love with someone. I wanna take them here into the goldenrod field, into the place without fear. I said I wanna fall in love with someone. I said I wanna take them here into the goldenrod field, into the place without fear. I wanna make some plans. I wanna have a wedding, marrying myself to this land. I said I wanna fall in love with someone. I said I wanna make some plans. I wanna have a wedding, marrying myself to this land, marrying the I wanna fall in love with someone. I wanna take up space. I wanna have a wedding. See that smile on your face. Oh, and I wanna fall in love with someone. Oh, and I wanna take a chance. I wanna turn you all into lovers. Ooh, and I wanna learn to dance, to dance, to dance, to dance. I wanna learn to dance. I wanna learn to dance without Thank you.
Anybody who plays a string instrument knows in this weather. We're struggling. Brutal. What a voice, right? Oh my goodness. So going back to the Seven Fires prophecy, it is said that we are currently in the time of the seventh fire. And as Grace was saying earlier, one of the amazing things about folk music is its ability to communicate a story to people, you know, and Naomi and I are in a group called the Folk Collective, where we're kind of charged with going out into the world and showing people that folk music encompasses so much more than what sometimes people think it is. And that folk music has been around forever and ever and ever. And we're not, it's not being discovered, it's being reclaimed, as she says in the title of this series. It's something that has always been here, but we're shining a light on it now, saying, look, we've been here all this time. We haven't gone anywhere. And this Seven Fires prophecy also tells a very important story. And it's said that we are in the time of the seventh fire right now, where it's incredibly important and critical that we learn to get along as a people. All races of people learn to get along together in harmony with respect for each other and for our earth, if we want to survive. And I truly believe that's true. I think we can do it. It's a lofty, lofty goal right now, but I think we can do it. And we do that by working together. And so tonight I'm going to ask you to work with me and sing a little bit with me for this song called The Seven Fires. And the part that you're going to sing is super easy, okay? I'll teach it to you. And the fire still burns. We're going to sing that 2 times. And the fire in this song is hope, okay? Yes, the fire still burns. Travel across the land, west on Turtle Isle. You travel across the land, sparked by the first fire. Look for the sacred shells as prophets did foretell, stopping at the site where food on the water fell. Are you ready? Let's go. And the fire still burns. Yes, the fire still burns. Come on, you guys, that was like a B-. Shadow dark and long wind across this blessed land. A shadow dark and long waved its venal hand. Of their promises littered on the trail. Trying to save the world, let's do it. And the fire, that's better, still burns. Yes, the fire still burns. And the sun will and the winds will cry, and the sea will heal our tears. Hear the drumming roar, all gather and seek the circle. The seventh flame is nigh, heed what has been lost. Seventh flame is nigh, pay attention to the cost. Awaken the wisdom as bitter rivers flow. Choose the path to unify, return to what is known. Here we go. And the fire still burns. Yes, the fire Great singing, you guys. Great singing. Thank you.
So you might notice that I don't have a normal banjo strap. So I have a bad shoulder. So it goes around my waist. And it's very nice and ergonomically friendly. So I'm going to do that everyone's favorite thing where this is saying it's an A. Oh, I know what I did. Okay. I figured it out, guys. This has been a long day. So this song is also, thank you, Naomi, for letting me use your tuner, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna talk while I'm doing this and not make my deranged faces. Okay, sick. Did it, guys. Proud of us. We made it. So this song, in 2020, we obviously had a great year. I'm immunocompromised, so I didn't leave my house for 6 months. And that was really scary. And I lived by myself, so it was even more scary. And then George Floyd was murdered. And as a black woman, I mean, black people are murdered every day, every hour. It's not like it's anything new, but I'd never seen an uproar like I did in 2020, and I don't know if it's because people finally had the time to be present and notice that, oh my God, these atrocious things are happening and police brutality is rampant. And so because of that, I play music in a predominantly white genre, and predominantly, well, the people who are put out in the world and showcased are usually white people. But all of a sudden, people were like, Grace, what do you have to say? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And they're like, well, like, as a black folk musician, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, tell us how you feel. Like, what can we do? And I'm like, y'all didn't care about me playing music like 2 weeks ago. And now that you have a Black Lives Matter shirt, you're like, oh, I need to call up the one black musician I know and ask her how she feels about this. And I mean, I can't speak for every black person in this room, but it was a shock to the system when so many people just started to, like, all of a sudden notice what we've experienced since the day we were born. And so it was very, very jarring to me, and I didn't know what to say. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. And I wrote the song about the only thing I really could write, and it's about just fear, and the fear that comes with just existing, but also the fear that comes with having the bravery to speak your truth and say things that people don't feel comfortable hearing, even if they need to hear it. So this song is called Papa. You can find it on the internet. And on the internet, the banjo's in tune.
Taught my mother to stand, taught
can I be kind when they look us in the eye and watch us die? How can I be brave when all I know is how to be afraid? I hope to be half the man my papa was someday. Mama says I have my papa's eyes, and she told me to be kind, 'cause it'll kill them in time. I'd like to think she wouldn't lie. But how can I see through when all I see is the black being killed by the blue? My papa, mama says, lives on in you. Sandra couldn't drive fast enough. They're out here killing our young. Trayvon and Tamir are just kids who should be here. Papa couldn't outrun the gun. Mama couldn't run fast enough. I can breathe. Is all George and Eric could scream. Mama is older than her papa was when Dagmar wielded a gun. My papa was too young to be found dead by his son. I'm angry, I'm betrayed, and I've been scared since too young an age that I'll end up like my papa someday. Thank you so much.
Okay, y'all. I think we need to maybe move on to our conversation piece. Yeah, we ready?
We're ready if I can get my microphone off. Gracefully this. I did it. Wow. The suit is good.
And while Portia is setting up Grace, I want to say that I special requested Papa, and that song always makes me teary, and thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like sometimes when I play that song, it's just like, I don't know. I have to be in the right space, and it has to be the right space.
Sure.
I played at a museum, not in Boston, in Salem. So don't worry, I'm not outing any of our museums. But I played a donor event, and they were actually putting on a exhibit about Native folk, and it just like felt so jarring that there was one other black person in the room, except one other black person of color in the room besides me. And because we have like all these big wig donors, and I was the background music, but I'm like, you're paying me so much, I don't care. But there was a song, because especially with the type of exhibit it was, I was like, I want to take a moment and recognize like how important this exhibit is, and you know, minority culture, et cetera, et cetera. And then I was like, if everyone could just like take a moment and like sit in the space, and I'd love to play you a song. And like people stopped talking for a second, and then I started playing the song, and then they all just went back to talking again. So it's like ever since then, I'm just kind of like, I gotta be in the right place, but thank you for making this the right place. Yeah.
Word, I heard y'all clapping. I just want to say maybe we should give another round of applause for Naomi, Kim, and Grace. That was really incredible, y'all. And I feel so honored to be here. My name is Portia Olayiwola. Please forgive my politician picnic suit.
It's giving.
Had an interview today, but I feel so much gratitude for being able to be here and like be brought down and just like relax into y'all's voices and y'all's music. It was really incredible. We're gonna open it up for Q&A. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions, and then if you have things in your mind, I'm gonna ask that you, I don't think we have mics here, but if you could just raise your hand and project, and we'll get into some good conversations, yeah? So my first question, which is technically 3 questions, so forgive me in advance, but it is, how are you defining folk music? How did you get involved in folk music? What was your introduction? And then also, who are your influences? And so you can like encapsulate those together, if you will, or remember the ones that you can. And I'll say it again, how are you defining folk music? Who are your influences? And then how did you get involved? But is there someone who wants to start?
I can start. For me, folk music is music of the people. And it's, as a genre, I think music that can be stripped down to its barest elements and still tell a story. But it's beyond a genre. It is often political, and it's music that's accessible. It's music that anybody can kind of pick up. You can sing a cappella folk music, or you can pick up a guitar and learn a couple chords and play folk music. And so in that, the stories are music of the people, but the simpleness of it can also be music of the people. And partly, I think, by just trying on other genres and just continuing to come back to folk and feeling very comfortable here. And I think for me, folk, I feel lyrics are the most important thing that I'm doing. I'm a poet, and so folk music lends itself very nicely to storytelling in that way. And I have lots and lots of influences, but I grew up in a multiracial household, and I think someone that was constantly being played was a lot of reggae and a lot of Bob Marley. And when I go back and listen to those records, they are folk records, what he's talking about. And the political movement he inspired is folk music. So.
Thanks for taking all my answers. No, I'm only kidding. I agree 110%. Folk music is literally music of the people. Songs that tell stories, but also songs that allow us to communicate with one another and allow us to feel empathy. And to me, that's extremely important. But it covers such a huge umbrella. My upbringing was, my mother was a classical pianist from the time she was 6, and she introduced us to everything from Mozart and Rachmaninoff to, oh my gosh, Mac Davis, the Beatles, and on and on and on. Singer-songwriters, Carole King, Jackson Browne, James Taylor. And my dad was a huge country fan, like country core fan, Waylon Jennings, Buck Owens, Johnny Cash. And so my musical anatomy is a mishmash, just like I am. I'm a mishmash of different cultures. And folk music, to me, covers every single one of those things. Every single one.
And for me, I think that it's interesting because I didn't grow up on folk music, like, at all. But kind of to what Naomi and Kim were saying is that, music that you don't realize is folk music is folk music. So at the end of the day, I did grow up on a lot of folk music, but I didn't grow up on a lot of what people, quote unquote, see as folk music. But I think that some of my biggest influences in the folk genre in general really come from bands like Simon and Garfunkel. I remember the first time I heard Simon and Garfunkel very vividly. I was like 12, and I was in a Michael's craft store. And Sound of Silence came on, and I turned to my dad. I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Oh, this is Simon and Garfunkel." And I remember I went home, went on LimeWire, and downloaded everything. And just from there, it was kind of a gateway. And then I remember when I kind of picked up a banjo, and I think I used to be very embarrassed by this fact, but now I just kind of say it with my chest. A lot of why I wanted to become a musician was because of Taylor Swift. And I think at the end of the day, like she was such a gateway to so many musicians to like, oh, well, this is a miscellaneous girl with a guitar. Maybe I could be a miscellaneous girl with a guitar. And now I'm a girl with a guitar. So I think that she had a huge influence on me, but once I picked up the banjo, because I was like, she plays the banjo? I like that. And started looking into the origins of the banjo, and it just like opened the world for me. And I've never taken a banjo lesson in my life. And I genuinely feel like when I pick up the banjo, it's just like my ancestors are flowing through my entire body. My banjo's name is Libba, after Elizabeth Cotton. And if you don't know her, she is an incredible songwriter, guitar player. She taught herself everything that she knew, and did not get her flowers until a few years before she passed away. And I think that I want to continue sharing folk music now, and I think it's really important to give musicians and give people their flowers while they're still alive and they can still stop and smell them. So I love movements like this because people aren't going to wait till we're dead, which is cool. I hope. Please don't wait till I'm dead.
Can I add to that an important point that everybody seems to be making, but I think is important to bring out too, is that folk music is something that's living. So even though it's been passed down from generation to generation by word of mouth or by records or, however it's passed on, it's something that it's so amazing because it continues on and it's something new. So everything that we've brought with us from our past and our childhood and our parents' childhood and their parents' childhood goes into what we create today. So it's ever flowing and it's ever moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you all for that. And like really harping on this notion that it is a music for the people. I appreciate that. I have a tangential question, but I'll wait. And maybe ask offline. But as a writer, as a poet, I'm interested to know y'all's writing process and which comes first. Is it the actual melody? Is it the story? Is it the lyrics? Or how do you meet all of those things to give us a song?
Can I tell you something weird?
Yeah.
We're all friends here now, right? I love the acoustics in my bathroom. And sometimes, like, when I'm getting in the shower, I'm just, like, sitting on the toilet, to be completely honest with you. I just start humming because I'm like, ooh, yeah, we got them acoustics. And then I'm like, oh, that's actually a nice melody. And then I forget about it. And then I'm, sitting and thinking in my brain about existential dread. And I'm like, oh, wait, that would go great to my toilet melody. And I have a lot of songs that came from my toilet melodies, but that's a long way of saying I don't have a process.
I mean, in the bathroom is a process.
My thoughts have cleared so much since I got a bidet, but what can I say? But no, I think that there's really no, I might be the oddball out here, but I don't have a process. I've never written a song the same way twice, ever. And I don't, and then there's like the really good songs, I'm like, can I write that again? And then it never happens again, but yeah.
My guitar is like a Ouija board. It's just, I pick it up and then melodies, chords, different progressions happen. And then I'll start humming a melody over it. And then it's the lyrics that kill me. It's the lyrics that I spend so much time. So I'll play it over and over and over again. What is this song about? What is it trying to say to me? What does it want me to say? And then once I get a couple of lines, then I have the direction and then I can finish writing it. But it can be, it's never the same. Even though that process is the same, the feeling isn't always the same. And I love to quote James Taylor, I was reading an interview by him a long time ago, and someone had complimented him on his songwriting, and he said, I was just the first person to hear it. And I kind of think the same way. It's out there. You know, we just have to be open enough to, like, hear it, you know.
I have lots of different ways that I write songs. Sometimes, because I write a lot of poetry, and I actually find it easier to get in a space to write poetry. Oftentimes I'll kind of be thinking about a concept in a poem first, and I might write a few poems first about the concept and maybe take some lines of that poem and turn it into a song. But sometimes I'll sit down with a guitar, piano, and everything will all come at once, the chords and the melody and the lyrics. And then other times, sometimes, you know, I'm thinking from more of like a craft place where I'm like, I would like to write a song and I don't have an idea, but I need to practice songwriting. And so then I'll kind of do a free write, and then I'll introduce a form and kind of take parts of the free write and add that to the form. So there are moments when I feel just inspired and music comes, and I think to Grace's toilet melodies, it's oftentimes
It's name of my Rex record, actually. Surprise, guys, we get the drop.
It's oftentimes when I'm bored, like driving around and not listening to anything is a great time for things to kind of pop into my head. Walking and not just listening to nothing, that's a great time. In the shower, lots of melodies come. So sometimes I'll be inspired, or something in life will happen and I'll say I have to write about that. But for a long time now, I have just kind of been like, I'm a songwriter and I need to write even if I don't feel inspired. So I usually go to that kind of, some kind of free write and then some kind of form to help when I don't feel inspired.
Yeah. Thank you all. I appreciate that. And it sounds like, and this is obviously not true for everybody, but at times there might have to be a little bit of quiet or silence for the thing to enter the mind, or then sparked by some kind of conversation or thing that happens. But I appreciate that, and that juxtaposition between silence and the blaring out or the singing. I'm going to turn to folks in the audience. Is there... Oh, there are audience mics. Here they come now with impeccable timing. And so if you have a question, will you just raise your hand? And we'll have somebody with a mic run over to you. So while you are gathering your nerves and thinking of your question, we'll take this one in the back because I have too many.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't know how to use a mic. My name is Jim. I appreciate you so much being in here tonight. I haven't been in this library in over 10 years.
Wow.
And I just serendipitously came in for folklore, wearing a folklore t-shirt, of course. Question about lyrics, poetry, and identities, because that talk has been around. We've all been through what I'm now calling the intermission. This COVID era is the intermission in our lives. And now I'm trying to figure out how to get back to my poetic forms that are lyric forms that are, I'm trying to write odes, okay? Because it's a nice, short, simple word, right? And then you find out how difficult it is to write an ode in the form of Sappho in the archaic Greek, to get to a structural form of women's song, because it is women's song that is the basis of our culture, that is the basis of our identities, and that is the basis of things. So in a women's song, I could use some help on this, much help. When you're doing these odes in music, how do you first get the nerve to pick up a guitar or something and get up on a stage? Because I have horrible stage fright.
I think for me, as you probably can tell, I have no filter. So now you all know about my bathroom. So I think that for me, I don't know why, I feel more comfortable interacting with people on stage because it almost separates the fact that I'm bearing my soul to someone when they're out there. And I know that might sound counterintuitive, but it's a lot easier to like talk to someone or like say hi to someone if they're across the room that you don't know, and then you get into their face and you're like, oh God, I have to actually talk to them. What's happening? What's my name? And so I think that's what helps me get up here is like, all right, I can share my story and they're 6 feet away, so this is great. And it just helps to feel like people are listening. But it helps it feel a little less, this might sound weird, but it makes it, for me, feel a little less judgmental. Because I don't have to like look at someone in the eye and like sing to them or talk to them and immediately see them either spark and like be happy or like, oh God, if that is any help. But good for you for writing odes, because we can't get by without them. You are right. You are doing it. I believe in you.
I think for both the first and second part of the question, it's a little bit of trying to step into like an abundance mindset and just kind of understand like this isn't the only poem I'm ever going to write, or this isn't the only time I'm ever going to perform. And so in that way, there will be many, many more poems and many, many more performances, and it matters not so much how well this one is. That's helpful for me. And then to kind of talking about odes and writing in a strict form, which I'm constantly applying form to myself and then getting stuck. And so I think what's helpful is to then take the form away for a little bit and write without whatever it is, the rhyme scheme, or write without kind of the syllable count that you want, and just write what you're trying to say. And then you can go back and edit it into the form. So that happens with me a lot with songwriting. I'll get stuck because I've chosen a specific rhyme scheme in verse 1, and then I have to do that rhyme scheme 2 or 3 or 4 more times, and I get stuck. And then I'm end up trying to write for the rhyme instead of write for the story. And so then what I do is I step back and I say, let me just write, and it's okay if it doesn't rhyme. And then let me just get out what I need to say, and then how can I edit it so that the form is still somewhat there, or maybe the form actually is too constrictive, and maybe you need to do like an ode light, So that's kind of what I do, because form can both be very helpful as structure, but it can also be very constrictive.
I agree with that with songwriting. Same thing. Once I have a concept, I just write just lines. Actually, my phone has, I don't know if you guys do this too, like hundreds of like little snippets of lines. I'll be driving the car, I'll be like, shit, that's a great line.
Voice memo number
Yeah, exactly.
978.
Then you got to go back every like 6 months and listen to them all and go, what was that? But in trying to, create a song, I try to like think about the story first and then get it to rhyme after that. And then once I don't even try to think about the form of like verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus. It's just trying to get the story out first, what you're trying to say out first. And to the second part of your question about stage fright, I had debilitating stage fright for most of my life. And I wanted nothing more than to be a performer for a very long time, but I couldn't do it. And once my kids were grown, I decided to try and get over that stage fright, and I went to open mics religiously once a week. And it took about 1.5 years, but I finally did get over it. So it does go away. It does go away. You just have to try to push through.
Hello. I have a question, and maybe on the heels of that question, and just kind of the theme of tonight of just like, I think how folk and music is so significant in our lives. We're talking about storytelling and just, I think Grace, you had mentioned just like bearing your soul. And I'm curious to hear, like, inform us what it means to be a musician and to be a professional musician, and how to, like, what does that take? And what's the day in the life of a musician, and and what do you need to thrive, I guess?
I have a 4-hour morning routine. And that's like pretty important for me. I think similar to Grace, I also have a chronic illness, so and our jobs are very physical. So I have to drink a certain amount of water and get a certain amount of sleep and all of those things. I can hear in my voice that I did one of these shows last night and my voice is a little tired. So like I don't have as much control over it today as I did yesterday. So there's a lot of kind of just like caretaking, but what I found for myself is that I'm a morning person, and so I give the first 2 to 4 hours of the day when I have the most energy to myself. That's my time. Because what I used to do is wake up and email, and I would just be emailing, working. But guess what? You can email when you're tired. But it's a lot harder when you're tired to say, let me do my journal writing, let me go for a walk, let me do my stretching, let me make a whole warm meal for myself, let me do my vocal warm-ups. Those are the things that I didn't want to do when I was tired. So I give the first few hours of my day to myself, and then the rest is for admin and emailing, and I'm completely freelance, so I'm usually juggling 5 to 10 projects at a time. And I think the other thing that I need is community, and other folk musicians, other artists, other queer artists, other artists of color to be in my life. My very best friend, Morgan Mitchell, is a painter and illustrator up in Maine, and we send each other voice memos almost every day, and most of it is just about our creative process. And I got a voice memo from her yesterday, and she was like, I'm in this manic creative space, and this is what I'm doing, and blah, 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 blah. And she was just kind of explaining her new project, and we give each other feedback, and we try and meet a couple times a year and have retreats, and having other artists in my life is just really important. There's this myth that like artists are all competitive and actually think we just want to hang out with each other because we're the same type of weird. So, yeah.
Yes, we are the same type of weird, for sure. I am an independent artist, and I look at it as a sole proprietorship. My prior career was nearly 20 years in the banking industry, and I started doing this as a career in 2016, I want to say. So, as these guys know, we get to be artist, songwriter, composer, sometimes recording engineer, but always promoter, marketer, booking agent, manager. So we wear many, many, many hats. And it can be, the artist part is the best. Performing for you guys is the best. And the other part is a lot of work that gets us here. And so the other part makes it worth it, for sure.
I think for me, and I think a common misconception when people see people playing shows and doing it a lot and putting music out, is that everyone is freelance. I have a 40-hour-a-week desk job, and I woke up at 7 this morning, went to work, worked 8 hours, and then came straight here. But this fills my cup. And so I think that a day in the life of a musician looks so different for everybody. And for me right now, it looks like going to work Monday through Friday and going home and honestly not feeling very creative at all. And I would be remiss to act like I feel like I am a musician all the time. I feel like I'm a musician when I'm here and when I'm writing or when I'm, answering a music email and not an email about a random thing I don't care about. Sorry, job. But I think that it's okay, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. It's like you're just as much of a musician if you have to have another job, if you have to take care of your family, if you don't do it professionally, if you play music in your house, you're just as much of a musician as we are. So I think that's a really important thing, is a day in the life is going to look different for everybody because we're all different, and music doesn't have to be just people who are on a stage. So.
I think we've got time for one more question, and I've got two, so just kidding. Go ahead, right
Duel.
here.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for your music and the conversation. I really appreciated hearing what all of you had to say. And I'm wondering, I'm a singer-songwriter myself, and I'm a person of color, and I think this question is specifically for Grace, but is open to everyone, because I was thinking about, while hearing Papa, I hate this, as a person of color,
Say it with your chest.
as a person of color, I wonder, like, how does one get to the place where you're willing or you're able to kind of like put those experiences that are so personal, like, out on a platform, and potentially risk being dismissed, like at the museum, and I'm sure other spaces as well. And yeah, how do you get to that place of being willing to take that risk?
I love that question so much. Thank you so much. I think for me, it came out of a place of kind of being at my boiling point and the lid popping off, because I spent so much of my life, I have a musical theater background. When I was in high school, I did it religiously. I thought that was going to be the rest of my life. And I saw the reason why I stopped musical theater is because I was like one of 3 musical theater kids who were in the program, and everyone else in the program, so 2 white girls who I love very much, were double cast for the lead role, and I wasn't cast at all. And that was the first time, well, I mean, I'd had that happen a lot in my life, but that was the first time I threw in the towel. And I was like, no, I'm good. And I focused more on my folk music and focused more on playing this type of music. And I found myself doing the exact same thing, where I knew that, or I felt like me being my authentic self wasn't working. So I made a whole record that I still am extremely proud of. It's called Year of the Horse. I love that record, but I made that record so that other people would like it. And it didn't turn out how I wanted it to, because I'm gonna be frank, I let a lot of white people be like, oh yeah, this is what they want to hear. And I'm like, okay, cool. And didn't take a second to be like, no, you know what? That's not what I'm trying to do. And so I think after I think Papa was probably the first song that I wrote about like my identity as a person of color. But that was kind of the moment where it was just like, you know what, screw it. Like, if people don't like this, they don't like this. And at the end of the day, I never had this song. I never had what I'm putting out. And if it touches one person, great, but it healed me. And I think I've had better reception to that song and everything I've put out and sang after than I have at anything else, because you'd be surprised at how many people share the same experience as you, because there are so many people and you're not alone. And I think just getting to that point where you're like, hey guys, I'm here. People are like, oh my God, I'm here too. Oh my God, I'm here too. And it's just, it empowers you and inspires you to do it more. So now I'm just sitting in rooms telling people about what I do in the bathroom. And like, I am very open about everything, because you never know who's going through the same thing as you and doing it silently and feels like there's no one else going through it. And yes, our experiences are unique to us, but at the same time, there's billions of people in this world. You aren't alone. So I encourage you to, even if you just share it with one person, write something. Even if you just share it with yourself, write something that's for you and go from there. You got this. I believe in you.
I'll add, I think, kind of just piggybacking off of what you're saying is like, write it first, and then you can figure out if you want to share it and who you want to share it to. But you don't have to make music for white people.
Amen.
White people can listen to the music, but it doesn't have to be for them, you know? And I think I'm working on some new music, and a lot of it is ancestor stuff. And it's like, it doesn't even feel like it's my choice to write it. It's like, it feels like my responsibility to write the songs. And I'm thinking a lot about the conversation of being multiracial and having ancestors that were colonizers and having ancestors that were colonized, and how to deal with that tension, and getting inspiration and messages from my ancestors telling me that, like, I had a name and a lineage before the name that a master gave to my family. So those are things that, like, I'm still percolating, but sometimes you have to write stuff because it's somebody else spiritually wants you to write it. And then you can decide, though. You can make the art, and you can decide who you want to share it with. But yeah, it doesn't. You can make art and you share it with the world, but it's not for the world, too.
There's a book that Rick Rubin wrote that's kind of like my Bible, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but it has to do with being a creative. And what he hammers home is that, and it's something that I learned along the way after doing this for a while, is that the songs will find the ears that are meant to hear it. Mm-hmm. And if you are your authentic self, that's all you have to be. And it's absolutely 110% true. And sometimes, just like anything else in life, if you're vulnerable, it's going to be scary, and you're going to have to take a breath. But if you do it, the rewards that you reap are going to be incredible. One of the songs that I wrote that's on my second album, it was a song that I wrote about losing my sister to cancer. Now, while that's a universal topic, it was incredibly personal to me. And the first time I sang it, there was a line of people at the merch table, and they all shared their story with me, each one of them. And I almost didn't play it that night because I thought this is just too personal and it's sad, and oh gosh, people want to go out and hear happy songs, you know. People want to hear something that makes them connect with somebody else. They want to hear something that makes them feel human and empathetic, that there's empathy between two people. So you write what's inside of you, and if you want to share it, you share it, but know that there's going to be people. If you're given the gift of a song, there's going to be ears that want to hear it.
So, before we get out of here, I know there are still questions, and maybe before the library kicks us out, we can do some one-on-ones if you guys feel comfortable with that. I just want to shout out Naomi Westwater, who curated this series. And by way of curation, has asked that I read a poem. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm reading a poem in the spirit of reclamation, in the spirit of reclaiming specifically folk music. And the poem is not mine, but it belongs to a writer by the name of Tyemba Jess, who writes these things called contrapuntals. And contrapuntal is poems that are two poems, one on the left side, one on the right side, and then you read across and you get a new poem. And it's from the contrapuntal as it stems from Bach and music. And this particular contrapuntal or poem is about Lead Belly, who's Black folk artist, and also Lomax, who was his manager at the time. And if you know the story, you know that Lead Belly in the 30s and during the Great Depression was in jail. And Lomax went around recording music and ended up managing and then also profiting off Lead Belly from prison. And there's a story in which Lomax, this almost myth, this story, if you will, that Lomax asked Lead Belly to perform in his prison clothes. And so the poem is about that. It's long, excuse me. And it's in 3 parts. It's called Lead Belly versus Lomax at the Modern Language Association Conference, 1934. And the first part is in the voice of Lead Belly. A costume, dark overalls, handkerchief, and ugly-ass shit kickers, clutched like gifts in his outstretched hands, chased the stink of a mule dirt back into my head. Now he wants me to wrap my music in a brown bag of coon, to give them what folks expect to see. Says I need the genuine look of a farm boy to sew blues, dirty fingers between their ears. I remember fame's promises. $100 suits is what made me believe. $50 wing tips made me convert. $5 cigars helped seal the deal. Like always, dog-tongued anger laps at my palms, shrinks my bowels like a clenched fist. Let's face it, I'm a parolee on parade, wanted poster on a short leash, biding time beneath the law of a master I chose myself. That faded rucksack of yes sir, growing one load heavier with each slow grin stitched across my lips. Part 2 is in the voice of Lomax. An outfit, new blue jeans, clean head wrap, some simple old sturdy shoes are a proper field hands uniform. Down on the farm familiar, dressing down, it raises gods dark enough to capture the authentic blues, bringing Southland to a crowd that says they want to hear how it sounds for a black to scrape heaven's dusty starlight out of hell, to tally up and close accounts, $3 for coveralls, and they were on sale, $1 for work boots, sold at half price, and here, a handshake serves as contract. It's strange, but sometimes loathing bursts from his eyes, pummeling me, striking across my face. Let's face it, I'm an ex-con's keeper, something I can't much forget in this prison-choked country. I cannot absolve this man of his greatest crime, the crime of race, binding us all to blood, cutting through skin, burning through history. And part 3 is the two of them across, and maybe I theorize America or history. A costume, an outfit, dark coveralls, new blue jeans, handkerchief, clean head wrap, and ugly ass shit kickers. Some simple old sturdy shoes, clutched like gifts in his outstretched hands, are a proper field hands uniform. Chase the stink of mule dirt back down on the farm, familiar into my head. Now he wants me dressing down. It raises gods to wrap my music in a brown bag of coon dark enough to capture the authentic blues, to give them what folks expect to see, bringing Southland to a crowd that says, I need the genuine look of farm boy, says they want to hear how it sounds for a black to sew blues, dirty fingers between their ears to scrape heaven's dusty starlight out of hell. I remember to tally up fame's promises and close accounts. $100 suits is what made me believe. $3 for the coveralls, and they were on sale. $50 wing tips made me a convert. $1 for the work boots, sold at half price. $5 cigars helped me seal the deal, and here, a handshake serves as contract. Like always, it's strange, but dog-tongue anger, sometimes loathing, laps at my palms, bursts from his eyes, shrinks my bowels, pummeling me like a clenched fist, striking across my face. Let's face it. I'm a parole on parade. I'm an ex-con's keeper, wanted poster on a short leash, something I can't much forget, biding time beneath the law in this prison-choked country of a master I chose myself. I cannot absolve this man of that faded rucksack of yes, sir, his greatest crime, the crime of race, growing one load heavier, binding us all to blood, each slow grin cutting through skin, stitched across my lips, burning through history. May we reclaim all of those things in history that folks took away from us. I want you guys to give one final round of applause to Grace, Kim, and Naomi. That was incredible. You all are incredible. Thank you so much. And then I believe the library closes at 9. Is that true? Or 8? The library closes at 8. Do not quote me. So we got 15 minutes before we definitely have to get out of here. But feel free to show some love once more to the artists.
We all have merch, so come say hi.
Is it outside?
Yeah.
And then we got a merch table outside. So we'll meet you out there. And maybe if you didn't get a chance to ask your last question, right outside on the left side. We're selling merch.